All right, so these are our artists 31 through 35. Your quiz is going for your A day, folks, is going to be on March 12th. Artist 31 is Diego Velasquez. He is a Spanish artist. He was the court painter, and the title of this work is called Las Meninas, which, if you would prefer an English translation of the title, I will accept that, just like I've done for other artworks. It's The Little Princesses. There's a lot of interesting things going on in this painting, including a self-portrait of Velasquez himself. You'll see him over on the left-hand side behind the large canvas. Do you see the canvas on the left-hand side?
So what is it? It's called Little Princesses?
Little Princesses is the English translation of Las Meninas. This is in 1656, pre-Spanish Revolution, but not too far before the Spanish Revolution. Notice there's a lot of interesting characters. Obviously, the little golden-haired princess in the center takes a lot of attention, but, you know, the dog is there. There's another little princess way off to the far right, and then you also see a little person in there. So, used as, no, it's a Little Princesses is the English translation, but a little person, she's a dwarf. She's over there on the far right side. The other thing I like about this is it shows how they used to hang photos or hang pictures in in establishments. So here, do you see how the pictures are hung, stacked on top of each other all the way up to the ceiling? That's just not something that we would see most often in America, and not even in traditional American museums. But like if you go to the Louvre, you'll see that. They were stacked all the way up to the ceilings. Artist 32, Vincent van Gogh. He's from the Netherlands. This is 1889, just after the Industrial Revolution. He had a very short life. He died by self-inflicted gun wound at the age of 37. He only started painting when he was 27, and there are over 400 paintings that are attributed to him. Some of the things that go along with him are true, like all these stories that you've heard, but I think the most heartbreaking one is that, did you know that he is not the first Vincent van Gogh? He's actually the second. His mother gave birth to a little boy on his same birthday that she named Vincent van Gogh. He died within the first year of life, and they buried him. Exactly 1 year after the first Vincent van Gogh was born, the second Vincent van Gogh was born, the one that we know. And she named her new son after her dead son. So every year on his birthday and his brother's birthday, they would visit the family grave. So, like I said, this just sort of set the kid up for psychological issues very, very early on. I think the takeaway from that story is do not name one child after another dead child. Okay? So, lots of fun stuff about Vincent van Gogh. Artist 33 is Johann Vermeer. He is another artist from the Netherlands, but notice his dates are 1665, so he would be a contemporary of the Spanish artist Diego Velasquez with the Las Meninas. Here you see The Girl with the Pearl Earring, a very, very famous work of his, very sharp, dramatic lighting, and very fine work. This painting was not very large. It's just slightly smaller than life size. So, and he's only credited with, I think, about somewhere between 20 or 25 artworks for his entire lifespan, and he was an artist his entire life. So he worked very slow and meticulous, and Vincent van Gogh was just pounding it out. But he did that, I think, because he was able to buy, or his brother was able to buy paint in tubes for him. So you can imagine the amount of time it took to grind and mix your own paints, and then just being able to unscrew the top and squirt out what you needed, how much of a time saver that was for artists all over the world. Next up, artist 34, we have Salvador Dali, our second Spaniard, but at a completely different century. This is in 1931. Much like Pablo Picasso, another Spaniard is known as the father of Cubism. Salvador Dali is known as the father of Surrealism.
Did he have a lot of problems too? Like he was really crazy?
He was extremely eccentric, but one of the things that he's kind of known for is that his wife was his manager, which was not really done at that time. Think 1931. You didn't have a lot of women running the business side of things. And he was sort of like an art rock star, and he wanted to be. So she shamelessly promoted him all over Europe and even into America. In this particular piece, students often get the title wrong in a quiz. They get the persistence part, but they want to say of time because there's a clock. You just need to do whatever little trick it is you need to do with your imagination to make sure that you remember that it's the persistence of memory. So do all you can to remember that about Salvador Dali. Also, I think it's kind of interesting how the space in this one's kind of messed up. It's like certain parts of the sequence of space as you go further back into the background. It's okay over on the far left-hand side, and it's okay over on the far right-hand side, but somewhere around the middle it kind of gets all jumbled. Surrealism, some people talk about that as being like what you would see in a dream. You know, when you dream, how things happen in a dream that can never happen in real life, but it seems so real. That's what surrealism is sometimes explained away as. Artist 35 is Judy Chicago, 1976, just 45 short years later after Salvador Dali, and you have a woman feminist artist who has created the installation called The Dinner Party. Now, she made all of the pieces that go along with this. It is in an equilateral triangle, and all of the tiles in the center of the triangle are also equilateral triangles where she has drawn the signatures of important females throughout history. I've got to find you a detail, so when we review this, I'll show you an up-close image. But each of those place settings at the dinner table she made. The fabrics, the chalices, as well as the plates. The plates are really sculptures and not intended to be eaten off of. They are often three-dimensional and really emulate some of the qualities of the female that it's set for. So it's kind of like a portrait of that person as a dinner plate. It's also a direct connection to one of the things during the Victorian era that was okay as a hobby for women was china painting. The woman was also usually responsible for organizing dinner parties and those kinds of events. So it is no mistake that she has chosen such a kind of way to both celebrate the womanness of being a woman and the history of being a woman and the strength of being a woman. So we have Judy Chicago, the feminist. We have Vincent van Gogh, as well as Johann Vermeer, both from the Netherlands region, one in the late 1800s, one in the mid 1600s, and then you also have Salvador Dali and Diego Velasquez. So two Spaniards from two different time periods. Anybody have any questions?
Can you go back to the first one?
I certainly can.